So, Patrick, I've got good news and bad news.
What is that coming from?
The good news is I've mastered a form of telepathy/telekinesis.
Really?
The bad news is I'm a puppet.
A puppet? Come on. Seriously, where are you?
I'm over here.
Are you over...
I'm under here.
Under...
Hi, I'm Kevin, and welcome to This Week in Our Collective Heads, specifically the Gold Plus Roundup.
Yeah. Apparently we're doing this.
I actually want to start on the Vita with Flame Over. I'm starting with this one because I don't want you to miss it, and it's really easy to look at it and dismiss it. The gameplay loop is really satisfying. It's like, have you ever had a game that you played that you knew wasn't really that spectacular, but like it's just so fun? It's not terribly creative. You're going through a burning building and you're putting stuff out, rescuing people. Apparently they took out the tutorial because nobody was using it. People were just jumping straight into the game. There are some confusing things. Go ahead and look up online, like how to use a defibrillator and which things are actually the most helpful to you and how to know when your axe is broken. Like there's a lot of things the game doesn't tell you, but I encourage you to go check out those things, come back, play this game. It's one of those that I'll sit down and say, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and do a game real quick, because it's only 5 minutes plus a minute for the people I rescue. It's not that long. And then 45 minutes later, I'm like, I should have gone to bed quite some time ago. It's a really good gameplay loop. The music can get annoying at times, but you can turn the music down or off or just let it fade into the background. But yeah, you're just going through, putting out all the fires. A couple of real quick tips. Don't escort people and cats singly to the exit. Go ahead and just put them in a place where you'll be coming by later, so that you can just run by and get like 4 extra minutes at a time, because running back and forth takes too long. And so by the time you get to the 4th floor of this particular level, then you're gonna run out of time. And then the other thing is unlock as much of Miss Ion's stuff as you can early. Like whatever else is happening, finish her mission before you do anything else, and that way you'll have tokens, and so you'll have something to actually spend your money on. It's a quality game. I recommend it. Controls are good. Like I said, the gameplay loop is strangely hypnotic, and I like the fact that in the last minute the music speeds up, a la Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
So that you get that kind of sense of urgency / panic.
Yeah, really.
I like it.
Yeah, me too. We also had The Last Guy, which may be the most mediocre game out of this flock, in my opinion. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just meh. It's Superman versus Batman meh. It's a top-down Grand Theft Auto 1 or 2 kind of style. You go and save other people. You're the last guy, but apparently, I guess you're the last competent guy, because you're saving people who are right next to an escape zone, but they can't figure it out. So you go save people from these giant zombies, these giant insects. Like I said, it's not bad, it's not good, it's just there. I mean, I had a little bit of fun with it, but it really wasn't worth that much time. It's really what we're doing this show for, is to make sure that you get a good sense of what these games are like, and whether or not you should actually be playing them and investing your time, because your time is important.
Broforce was one of the offerings for PS4 this month, and it's an 8-bit side-scroller thing where every time you die, if you have another life, then you're replaced by a bro version of a classic 80s or 90s in some cases characters. Like you've got like Brominator and Bronin the Brobarian and the Brondock Saints, and so it's like they took it and made it kind of dumb, in a good way. I liked the variety of characters, but because every time you die you start as a random character, sometimes you're going to end up with a character who's just not going to work. Like Brogiver, I think. He just has dynamite, which is awesome most of the time, but if you're facing a boss, the dynamite doesn't have enough range to get to the boss, and you're just going to die. And then there's other characters like Snake Broskin has a sniper rifle, and he just obliterates everything in front of him, and basically if I get him, I'm gonna win that mission. So there's a bit of a balance issue between the characters, but I really like how all the environment is destructible, because bad guys come out of these caves in the background, and so if you destroy what's underneath the cave, then they're just going to come out and fall to their deaths, and it's really fun to just run past one of those that was a problem and just listen to the bad guys die in the background. I recommend it just for funsies. The game itself has, I wasn't having as much fun with it. For me, Super Time Force Ultra, which we reviewed a couple months back, and I highly recommend it, did this much better, because there was the same amount of variety as far as the characters, but it encouraged you to charge forward, and then because your main issue was time itself, then you're just trying to do everything as quickly as possible. In Broforce, you're encouraged to charge forward recklessly, but because the graphics are really hard to pick out at times, a lot of times you'll get died by something you didn't even see, because there's 17 things exploding on the screen at the same time. So for me personally, I had a hard time picking out necessarily what was going on, and so I reverted to long range. And there's a lot of characters, and this game is really not designed for that, and so there are a few questionable design choices that I found problematic when it came to the game. It is really funny, and several people I've talked to have enjoyed it much more than I did, and so I might be in the minority here. So yeah, it was funny enough to keep me entertained for half an hour. After that, I was done, but I kept playing to see what else was there, and take care of you guys, because that's why I'm doing this. But yeah, so I guess my final recommendation is going to be, give it a shot, and if it's something that kind of resonates with you, then yeah, go for it. Check it out.
Yeah.
Coming back to Vita, Reality Fighters. There's not a lot positive that I can say about this game. It's one of those games that you just kind of wonder how it happened. Like, who approved this? It's got a bunch of racial stereotypes. Two of them specifically made me really uncomfortable. They have a guy there named Mr. Miyagi who looks and is supposed to sound like Mr. Miyagi from the 1980s Karate Kid. Problem is, it's played by a white American guy. It almost seems like it's designed to be offensive, but it doesn't quite go far enough to where you think it's parody. Like, I really feel like they just didn't realize how irritating this would be. For some people, that's not a problem. They don't care. But the game itself is no good. You go through I think it's 15 different fighters, and they are all unique, and they all bring different things to the fight. Well, the problem is that the game is not done well. It's not a good fighting game. Okay, for example, there is a trophy for finishing a fight perfect. Well, I fairly quickly figured out that the best strategy for me to use was to just hit the fast attack button repeatedly, because if they come in close enough, you can interrupt their attack with a fast attack and then possibly get a 3-hit combo on them. So that's what I did through the first 10 fighters, and then after that you just have to block and then do the thing. And so I got the perfect trophy within the first couple of levels. I was just messing on my phone and just hitting square repeatedly with my other hand. The techniques are difficult to pull off. The angle, it sounds interesting because you can play on whatever it is that the PlayStation camera picks up. The only problem then is that you have to face the camera so that you can see the fighters. So you have to hold it up, and if they go too far to the right, then you have to move the PlayStation or the Vita to the right, and it's just awkward, and it feels like a tech demo that somebody thought they could make into a game, and it's not good. You can go through it in about an hour and a half if you're that hard up for gold trophies, because you get a gold trophy for going through the basic story menu. But honestly, there are better things to do with your time. Macrame is one. Making your own pinata.
Yes.
I think if you really knuckled down, you could do that in an hour and a half, and it would be a better use of your time than playing this game.
And you get candy.
Definitely not recommended.
Yeah.
Supreme Commander 2 is one of the ones that was released for 360 this month, and at first I was really excited, and so I jumped in and I was like, yes, I'm having a whole lot of fun. But then I just realized that it's been so long since I played one of those games like Total Annihilation or such, where, because like I like StarCraft, but there's actually a kind of a niche of games within the real-time strategy mob genre, where you have your forces, and then you have your commander, who's like, the most useful, and you can apply him wherever and send out your army with him, without him. And I just really like that twist to the RTS genre, and I was so excited that I didn't realize that this game does nothing special. It's fun if you really need an RTS, if you want to run around, build stuff, collect resources. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's a good game. There's nothing inherently wrong with it, but there's also nothing inherently special about it. The missions do reach a point, and this is one of the strange things, and I think RTS people will know what I'm talking about when I say this, where you have just enough time to build resources, and you can build your base and very slowly make progress, and then suddenly you just peek over the edge, and then you're just able to ramrod through the rest of the stage. And that there is something about that that's really, really fun and really satisfying, because you feel like this was a difficult challenge, and you managed to balance it well, and you managed to do it. But yeah, overall, it's Supreme Commander 2 is a good game.
Yeah.
But it's there are better choices out there.
Like StarCraft. Yeah. StarCraft. Sherlock Holmes Crime and Punishment may be the biggest surprise out of this bunch. This game I did not expect much from. I didn't expect it to be very good. I didn't expect it to hold my attention. I expected, honestly, to tell you guys, just drop it. But surprisingly, it's good. Yeah, I'm not joking. It's actually pretty good. You go around and you look for different clues. You try to figure out, who committed a murder, or, it's not just trying to figure out who committed the murder, but you have to find the different clues and figure out how does this make sense. And you actually take it and you connect in Sherlock Holmes's mind. You connect the different clues to figure out a map of actual, a cognitive map of what happened and what you should do, or who you think the killer is, or whatever. And you actually have multiple choices. Yeah, multiple choices in this game. So you can get it wrong and you can still persecute the wrong person. It's really interesting. There's better endings if you get the right person versus the wrong person. I would encourage you to try this without a guide. If you have to use a guide to get out of a specific situation, I mean, sometimes we have to do that in the interest of time, but I encourage you, try this game, try it out, especially if you like Sherlock Holmes, if you like mysteries, go check it out. You'll like it.
Super Stardust HD was available for the PS3. And you might recognize the title because Super Stardust Delta is available on Vita, and then Super Stardust, I think it's Ultra, is available on PS4. And these are all done by Housemarque. It's the same people that played Resogun. If you played Resogun, you know that you're getting a quality shooter with this game. There's score chasing and everything, but like even just going through the game, I don't know, once or twice, and just kind of like it's really pretty. I love the music. I love the frantic tension of the game. You're going around shooting with your spacecraft and shooting everything into Stardust. Big rocks, and some of the enemies are sentient, some are not. But it's just a really gorgeous game, and every time I finish a level, it'll kind of give you a little, you'll see your score and how many things you killed and where you rank on the list and everything. But but yeah, every time it happens, just like with Flame Over, I'm like, you know what? I think I can do better next time. And that's a lot of fun. The controls are magnificent. The music is good. The graphics are great. It's a really pretty game. And I encourage you to go ahead and check this out if you have it. If you don't have access to a PS3 anymore, go ahead and fire it up on PS4 or Vita. It really is an excellent game, and like I said, if you played Resogun, you know the kind of quality you're getting into with Housemarque. They've got another game coming out in April, Alienation, and I'm really looking forward to it because of the consistency of the titles that they put out. If you're into space wars, dust shooting, twin stick shooting doesn't get much better than this. So I encourage you to go ahead and check it out, pick this up, and enjoy it. I consistently finish. If I finish the level, I'm gonna finish it with a smile on my face. If not, I'm gonna give it another shot because I know this time I can do it. And it never feels too hard to where I feel like I couldn't possibly win this. But it's never so easy that I'm just blasting through and I'm not paying attention. And that balancing, I think, is the biggest thing that Housemarque games bring. And Super Stardust HD brings it in spades. So, yeah, go ahead and grab that, check it out, and enjoy. Let me know what your high score is. Friend me, twin_pi on PSN, and see how you stack up to my scores.
They'll probably beat me. The next game we had was actually kind of a surprise. We weren't scheduled to get this at first. It is I Am Alive on PS3. This is, I really hate to call it this, but it's kind of the poor man's Last of Us. It's decent. It has an interesting story. It is your classic survival kind of, not quite horror, but kind of horror. It's a kind of post-apocalyptic, but it's a natural disaster kind of situation where you're having to not only save yourself, but try to find your family. I don't want to spoil anything, but the interesting thing about it is how little resources you have in comparison to like Last of Us. You have less resources than Last of Us. You have less resources than a lot of those games. So getting a bullet from an enemy is a big deal. In a lot of games, like you'd expect to get like a couple, right? Yeah, like a couple. But in this case, no. You're getting like one bullet, and that may help you win a huge battle. Two enemies coming at you are actually a pretty big deal. Actually challenging. You may have to shoot one with your one bullet and then knife the other one with your machete. Yeah, but it's pretty cool. Check it out, especially if you're still playing on PS3. If you still have a PS3, check it out. It's worth your time.
Galak-Z is the second PS4 PlayStation Plus offering for this month, and I highly recommend it. Okay, so anybody who's watched, Evangelion, Neo Genesis, whatever version of that you watched, or just basically any mech anime from the 80s and 90s. That is what you're playing, and it's a heck of a lot of fun. In season 1, you're only gonna have just this little starfighter, and you are the last hope for the galaxy, humans, something, and it's pretty fun. But yeah, it's one that I recommend. It will take you a little while to get used to the controls, because you have your thrust, your reverse, and you're not directly controlling it. But at the same time, after you get a handle on it, you really do feel like you're piloting something, and I really appreciated that. But yeah, so the controls are a bit difficult to get a handle on, but there's a reason for that. They give you a lot of options, and you're actually able to go in somewhat stealth mode, which you guys know how much I love stealth. And stealth with a spaceship is something I've never done before. But yeah, you'll see a little circle around you that shows where you can be detected, and so you can sneak up on bad guys and just blast them out of the vacuum, I guess. Yeah, and so I really enjoyed that. The characters are initially interesting, but then after a little while you will have heard the same, my shields are down. That stuff does get kind of annoying. But the game overall is a lot of fun. You're going through, you're picking up scrap, you're blasting aliens, or dealing with various environmental obstacles. You're going into all these different, I don't know, I guess they're like mini planets, large meteors, I don't know, but they're these large cavernous systems that are randomly generated each time, and just going through trying to survive the mission. The missions are going to be pretty straightforward. Go in, collect this thing, go in, assassinate this guy, just basic stuff, but it feels really good to go in, get your stuff, and get out. The upgrades as well are randomly generated, and so there are some that are going to be better than others, but this does encourage you to experiment and check out new weaponry that otherwise you might not have tried, and while it does make it a bit almost unbalanced, I can appreciate that it encourages you to try different play sets, different play styles even. As far as negatives, the setup is really good, but then the story doesn't go a whole lot of anywhere. As you go through each season of this, you have to survive until the end of the season, and then that's where it saves your progress. So there's a bit of roguelite, and then you keep progressing and going through. But yeah, I'd recommend that you pick it up, especially if you like mech anime type stuff, and the art style is colorful and flamboyant and a heck of a lot of fun. So yeah, recommend it. Borderlands was released on, well, it was released quite some time ago, but it was given for free this month on the 360. And if you played Borderlands 2 or the pre-sequel, or if you've played another game in the series, you kind of know what you're in for. But the mechanics in this are, I don't know, they seem a little bit more special. I don't know why, but it seems like that they kind of focus group tested the later ones a little bit more, and so the game doesn't feel particularly special. But like the loot loop is wonderful. You know, you find that perfect gun. I do encourage people like me who are not good at shooters, go ahead and grab the shield guy. I forget his name. I think it's Roland is your guy, and he can throw up a shield, hide behind it, and just kind of hang out there and be safe. It can take a little while to get into where you have a decent gun, because at first it's luck of the draw. You're gonna find guns that are okay, but eventually you'll find, you know, your gun. And when you find your gun, then everything speeds up, everything feels better, and it's just a whole heck of a lot of fun. I enjoy it, and I don't know, maybe there was a new surge. I prefer to play my games offline, but there might have been a surge of people who jumped in to play single or multiplayer co-op, and that's a thing that's available. I did test it out, and the matchmaking worked pretty well. I was able to find one person to go with me for a bit, and then I kicked her off my game because I don't like to play games with other people. But yeah, Borderlands is good. The story's fun, the characters are interesting. Even Claptrap, as annoying as he is an interesting and well thought out character, and I appreciate the way that the world feels real, even though it's set in this really bizarre landscape and scenario. Because you're going after the super treasure, and yeah. So, and there's a big twist at the end, and I really like it. So, yeah, recommended. The only thing that this game doesn't give that I feel that the other games do, 2 in particular has my favorite story. The story in 1 is a bit bare bones, but if you dig deep enough, they're still building the universe, the world building, as it were, and I really appreciate what they did with that. They did very well on creating that, making it feel like a lived-in world, even if the main storyline is a bit iffy. The sub characters and the characters themselves are worth hanging around for, and you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. This may be one of my favorite games in the past 10 years. I totally recommend playing this. If you haven't played this game, pick up this game now. These guys are awesome, and it's actually a local developer, Gearbox. Go check them out. Go check this game out. If you haven't already, check it out. If you have, play it again. You know it's that good. So we'll see you guys later. Have a good one.